Welcome to my channel. This is Mario Lord, also known as Real Estate Guru PK. On this channel, we talk about my real estate endeavors. We also have the top real estate producers and the top entrepreneurs in the country. Be sure to click the link below with Justin P with his Support Black Colleges marketing course. Also with Jason White's Crack the Code affiliate link, click that below as well. Also to support the channel, Webull, M1 Finance, Chase, Discover, Robinhood, and Public, a stock trading app. We hope you enjoyed this episode. This is Real Estate Guru PK signing up. All right, we got a special guest. How you doing, my guy?
What's going on? I'm glad to be here. Thank you guys both for having me.
Appreciate you for coming. Last minute a little bit.
So tell us, what do you do? Introduce yourself. Who are you?
You know, it's funny because every time I get this question, obviously this is like a podcast interview, but it reminds me of a work interview in a way. It's like, dang, who am I? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's but a lot of people know me as Approved by C. My real name is CMOS, Bluffaboy. Really all depends on which platform you catch me on and what page. So I do a lot of different things. Honestly, I would say that I'm more so a serial entrepreneur, right? Most formally, I'm known for CPNs, most controversial topic on any platform, for real, I would say. But the reason why I got into CPNs itself is more so because I felt like with the credit game, there's a lot of people already inside their own space with it, and I wanted to kind of tackle something that was controversial so that way I can put my own spin to it, right? Aside from that, I also do Airbnb, coaching, what else? And I have a discounted travel business. So those are my four main streams of income. And of course they, push out other little small streams of income too as well. So, as a whole, that's pretty much what I do. But I'm the credit magician. That's what I call myself.
So can you talk about the CPNs for a second? Because I know some people are it's illegal, it's not illegal, you can do this, you can do that. So what about CPNs?
All right, I'm gonna give you guys a crash course on CPNs really quick, right? Because like I said, there's a lot of uneducated people out there on the net in regards to not understanding exactly what it is. So what I do is I see my job more so as an educator rather than a salesman, right? So even when I have clients, booking for consultation, same process every time. They ask me what is a CPN? How do you use it? Oh, I heard X, Y, and Z, so on and so forth. So I've been researching CPNs for about a little over 2 years now for the most part, because like I said, I wanted to get into just strictly credit repair, but I'm everybody's doing credit repair. And I know credit repair is never going to be oversaturated because there's 8 billion people in the world and about 1 out of every 3 people have bad credit. But I was okay, well, how can I kind of differentiate myself, So with CPNs, a CPN is simply, it stands for a credit privacy number. Some people recognize it as a consumer profile number. Other people know it to be a corporate partnership number. And all it really is just a random 9-digit number that can be used in replacement for your social on credit applications. So now the CPN itself is not a social. The reason why it cannot be represented as a social is because it's a non-taxable number, right? So with that being said, with the CPN, there are a lot of different stipulations with it. And I like to say that I'm playing in a gray area. But the gray area, there's a lot of money inside the gray area, right? So people who say CPNs are legal, they're telling the truth. But people who also say CPNs are illegal, they're also telling the truth. Why? Because at the end of the day, right, is really what you make it. So with the CPN itself, right, how I like to kind of categorize it is more so as a tool. Meaning, for example, if I gave both of you guys a hammer, nails, a saw, and some wood, she may build a beautiful treehouse. You, on the other hand, my brother, unfortunately, you may commit a homicide, right? But in both situations, who do you blame? Do you blame the individual or do you blame the tool? You blame the individual, right? So it's the same thing. So just as if you could commit some type of wire fraud, synthetic identity theft under your social, it's the same thing under CPN. So essentially what I do is I teach people the best practices on how to use this number ethically to be able to obtain a car, rent out an apartment, get emergency credit cards, loans, what else? Finance, electronics, appliances, furniture, even little minute things like utility bills, insurance, little things like that where credit plays a huge factor. And the thing is, not everybody has enough time to say, hey, I can kick out X amount of dollars for credit repair, which could take anywhere from, 1 to 3 rounds, and that could take up to a whole year. So a CPN is more so just a fresh start, right? And there are some things that you need to know and understand just so that way you can use them to the best of its advantage, as opposed to using it maliciously or, being a nefarious actor. So some of the things that you cannot do with a CPN is you can't use a CPN to buy a house, clearly because it's a non-taxable number. You also can't use a CPN to seek any type of employment. Because it's a non-taxable number, you don't pay any taxes with it. That's the third thing you can't do with it. You can't use a CPN to take out any federal loans or receive any government assistance. Aside from that, you also can't register a firearm with a CPN. So those are typically the 6 things you just can't do with a CPN. Everything else is pretty much free game. Now, a lot of the articles that are online right now, they're telling you, oh, CPNs are illegal, CPNs are that, so on and so forth. But what I like to tell my clients is that at the end of the day, you have to understand that these, agencies, banks, lenders, financial institutions, so on and so forth, they're getting paid off of your bad credit, right? So of course they're gonna, try to gatekeep this type of information, because if I'm being, completely honest, wealthy white people have been using CPNs for decades. You think if Michael Jordan wanted to buy a home in your neighborhood, he's gonna put Michael Jordan on application? Well, his name is pretty generic, so maybe he would. I don't know.
Right.
But CPNs have been used for decades by people who are on witness protection, people who are essentially celebrities, high-profile athletes, pretty much anybody who was anybody with a name who was educated and had the type of financial means to be able to afford those type of services, right? Even when people come to the country from other countries and such, right? That's what they're using. That's exactly what they're using. It's just in a different term, right? And the CPN just follow the same numerical pattern as your social. So we all know our social goes 1, 2, 3, -45, -6, 7, 8, 9. It's the same thing. So on the application, right? Essentially in that line, you're just putting that CPN. Okay. So now the only, I wouldn't really necessarily say the only, but the biggest thing that you see about, CPNs as far as these negative connotations is that it's fraud and or it's synthetic identity theft, right? So let me clear the smoke. When you are putting the CPN in your actual name, right, real name, real date of birth, who are you impersonating, right? Just as if you were to create a LLC and or EIN, you got to do what? You got to create a new email address, a new mailing address, and a new phone number. Why is that? Well, simply is because you don't want your files to merge, because if it merge, right, then obviously it's going to be obsolete and you're not going to be able to use it at all. So with that being said, I always like to say clutter creates confusion. So you always want to make sure that you have those 2 files completely separate from one another, not because you're committing any type of crime or anything like that, or what you choose to do with it is completely your business. Like I say all the time, it's for educational purposes only, right? But I educate people how to use these profiles ethically under their real name to be able to get all of those expenditures as I just stated. Right. So now, as far as the synthetic identity theft and fraud, a lot of times when you're reading this, they're telling you, oh, CPNs are nothing more than just stolen socials from people who are incarcerated, babies, and also people who are deceased. Yeah. Right. But the CPN itself, that number, how I like to see it is you went and found a beautiful home in your neighborhood. You realize that it's not being occupied by anyone, right? It may be on Zillow, it's abandoned, it's broken down, whatever the case may be. You go to the state or the city and you go ahead and realize that you can go ahead and get a deed to own that property. It's the same thing. So long as nobody is occupying it, right, you're able to use it. So how I essentially, verify and validate that these numbers are authentic is, well, the simplest way, because I'm not going to give out all the sauce on camera, right? Pay me for that. But no 2 people can have the same social security number reporting to these credit reporting agencies. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, even Innovis, right? You know about that. But formally, we try to get them through Credit Karma, primarily. So once we go through that phase, then it's really just adding the lines of credit. And depending on what package they select and what their goals are, then I basically give them a general, or more so a specific roadmap as to, where to go on to be able to execute whatever it is that they want. So in a nutshell, that's what a CPN is. Those are some of the things that you can do with a CPN, and also some of the things you cannot do with a CPN, and also some of the different, different talking points about whether they're legal, illegal, just legality aspects in general.
Wow, that was very detailed. Thank you.
When you talk to 4 people a day about the same thing, you kind of start to memorize exactly what this type stuff is, to be honest. Yeah, so I'm excited though. This is definitely what I needed. I'm like, damn, who can I who podcast can I get on? I feel like nah, I'm important. I'm at a small scale right now.
Yeah.
So that's what it really is.
No, this ain't small.
I'm at a small scale.
Oh, okay,
I'm at a small scale. I don't got your followers just yet, but it's like, should I make the money? And I got the image, so it's like, I feel like it's only a matter of time till I blow up. And maybe the platform to take me there. Who knows?
I mean,
you know?
Do you got a stylist? You got that shit on, like.
So I appreciate that first and foremost. It's funny because I literally told her. She told me, I DM'd her when I seen the Charleston White interview. I'm like, dang, how can I get on? How can I get on? I feel like I'm important, like I said. So when she gave me the green light and said 6 p.m., I said, okay, that's a bet. I was supposed to get a haircut, so you're supposed to see the white line, but
you straight? You straight.
Yeah, I'm still swimming a little bit. I'm gonna zoom in and see this, but no, I don't have a stylist. But what I like to say is that I'm really big on fashion, and I take fashion very keenly, simply because I played sports all my life, and I'm always in a competitive nature. And I feel as though that there's a difference between being competitive and being combative. I feel like a lot of the times, people at the bottom, they feel like competition is a bad thing. And what I like to say to that is that you're always in competition. Literally, me racing to get here at a certain time, beating somebody off the highway, I was competing, right? If there's a girl that I like, there are hundreds of other guys on a social media platform that also like her too. They're competing, right? You compete to get into the best schools. You compete to get the best healthcare, so on and so forth. So you're always in competition. And my coach used to always tell me that, hey, if you look good, you play good. You play good, you get paid good. So you never know who's looking at you at what point and what they're looking at you for. Like literally, I stay at a very nice high-rise apartment, and I just bought these today, $1,000 off the rip. But you would be surprised. It's like older white men like really like these shoes. Like 3 of them compliment me on. Just like I wouldn't really be expecting that type of audience. But also like in addition to that, what a lot of people have to realize is that you wear the clothes don't wear you, right? They don't really make you. And I say that to say that if another person had these same shoes on, but they had a Walmart outfit, no offense to anybody, you probably wouldn't know these cost $1,000 because anybody can really make these. It's nothing like crazy, but it's just, you being able to kind of like just see like, okay, well, if Young Thug's brand, Spider, so on and so forth, or he has a Cartier watch on, some Prada glasses, like I'm pretty sure those shoes cost a pretty penny. You see what I mean? But perspective is everything. So I always try to look my best so that way, you never know who's looking at you. Somebody may be looking at this and say, dang, like we got to give him a brand sponsorship or something. Like we see his page, all the pictures are clean, so on and so forth. You never know who's looking at you. So I always I try to be as fly as possible because I believe that there's no such thing as liabilities. We talk about assets and liabilities a lot, but what I like to always think is that I could be like, I got a homeboy right now. He pays $4,700 a month for apartment, right? Somebody may think and say, dang, that's a lot of money. He may look at it from another perspective, right? And say, well, that's an asset because when I'm on the 42nd floor at this apartment, guess what? There's a whole bunch of other people also that can afford the same type of rent. And I can network with those people and they can share different opportunities, that I wouldn't probably be able to, open those type of doors by myself. And, that right there is relative. So what I learned in life in general is more so that people matter. And every single dollar that you ever made in life was through a relationship, right? So money isn't really important if you think about it in a way. So going back to the whole asset versus liability thing, it's like somebody may have said, Dan, you spent $2,500 today just to get on the podcast for an hour. And I seen it as, well, I spent $2,500 to invest into myself because you never know who's watching. Somebody may pick this up and say, Dan, come on my podcast. And then at some point, you got to start somewhere. You see what I'm saying? So it's really always less about the money and more so about the outlook and the perspective and also just like how you evaluate things. And I think a lot of people see things from a very low level mindset and I'm like all the way up here with it. So I can take any negative situation and turn it positive just because of how I think. And that's because the books that I read, the people that I hang around, and also like I'm big on like I don't watch TV, right? So I always said to myself, what entertains you trains you, right? So if all I'm watching is negativity on VH1 or watching these blog sites, so on and so forth, it's like that's gonna essentially start to make my reality in a way. But if all I'm listening to is like-minded individuals like you guys, right? And we're talking about wealth, we're talking about health, we're talking about prosperity, we're talking about cash flow, a whole bunch of like other different like topics in general that are money producing and also just very productive to like my outlook. And then there's no way that I can fail, honestly. So I speak a lot. I talk a lot, just so you guys know that. So you're gonna have to like cut me in between because I got a lot to say. I've been waiting for this moment for 24 years.
Wow.
You 24?
Yeah, I'm 24.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
That's
but I
cool.
mean, I came out a winner. You know, I was the winning sperm. So like,
I love your
I was the winner,
mindset. You
yeah.
have like I'm in it to win it. Period.
Absolutely. I mean, if it is to be, it's up to me.
Right. And so like, is the whole clothing thing even like on a regular day? You just going to Ralph's? I mean, what HEB out here, right?
Oh hell yeah! Like I'm the type person where it's all like I'll do the most no matter where I go. Like I said, you never know who you're gonna see, right? But it's like I come from. I was raised in Philadelphia too as well.
Okay.
I've been in Houston for going on 8 months now, and if you know anything about Philadelphia, an individual from Philly will spend their last on drip. Now, I'm not saying that's me. I'm very reasonable with like how I spend my money, especially when it comes to like clothing. But it's like we got to get fresh. You know, we right next to New York. Like the drip is there. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I be trying to tell my homeboys like, yo, like, you know, put this on, so on and so forth, because you never know. Like I said, I don't know who's watching this podcast. I don't know where this is going to take me, but I know this is just like the beginning stages. So I put that shit on everywhere I go. If you ever see me out in public and I don't got it on, like point me out. Like you said you had it on that podcast. You ain't got it on right now. And I'd be like, you're right. You got me. Yeah.
Are you in a relationship?
I'm dating.
You dating?
I'm not in a relationship, no, but I'm dating.
Okay.
I don't know. I tweeted this, or I guess I threaded this because you know Instagram got the whole thread thing going on now. But Houston is not a real place to me.
For real?
I feel like we've been running off a GTA server. It's just like it's always something to do. And when you come from like a city like that, like Philadelphia, where it's all like the nightlife is omnipresent, it's not. This is like so new to me. Like to be honest, like. And then on top of that, for every one male, there's about 3 other females. There are way more females out here in Houston than are male. So I don't know. It's just like being young, black, successful, and I'm not ugly. So it's like you know, the females, they're coming at you, but also, you know, just staying on track, to be honest, because like I said, I think the only thing worse than like being like your own worst self-motivator is also having like the wrong partner in your life. That can slow you down a lot. And I'm 24 now. I don't want to have kids, so I'm like 30. I'm fine with being that. I know it's a little bit different for women as opposed to men, simply because like I can be 50 and I can have a kid. It's not the same for women. So I got to be careful of like, you know, who I produce with and who I actually like spend my time with, invest my energy with, because all of that says a lot on like, you know, generations to come. Like literally who you have a baby with can change the entire trajectory of like your, you know, your bloodline, financially, emotionally, so on and so forth. And I believe in STDs, sexually transmitted demons. That the other one too, but yeah. So it's very vital for you to it's very vital for you to pay attention to what point someone is in their life when you're having sex with them. Like if you're a female and you're having sex with a guy who's very depressed and he's very emotional and he's not really where he wants to be, all of his spirits, his energy is being released inside you as well. So that's you know, very important. Or if I'm, you know, vibrant and I'm outgoing and I'm you know, on top of my game, so on and so forth, all of that is being fed into you too as well. So, you know, energy is very transparent. Obviously, like they said, you know, it can only be transferred. It can't be deleted. So when you walk into a room, like even over here, like the spirits are high. You know what I mean? And all of that is just that kinetic energy. So when people say like, oh, like I don't like the vibe in here, like that's like a real thing. Like those like energy. I don't know the technical jargon, the terms. I'm not about to have you guys roast me in the comments or whatever, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Like y'all can really feel a vibe. So yeah, I try to stay away from people who are, you know, they always got a problem with something but never have a solution. Like I hate that. It's like you like I don't know.
You talking about women or you just talking about in general?
Just people in general, to be honest. It's like, you know, people just complain, but they just never have a solution. And I'm more solution oriented than problem oriented, because of that, like if I had a problem right now, I would spend about if there's within a full hour, I would spend about 50 minutes trying to figure out a solution and 10 minutes about the problem. Because the more I start to relish about the problem, it's not really, it's kind of counterproductive in a way. Because again, oh, I'm thirsty. The fridge is right there. It's like, why am I continuously complaining? And that's the thing with a lot of people. It's like, the answer will be right there in their face. Yet so many people see it, but not too many people sees it. And what I also realize is that in school, right, we get it. It's simple. If somebody is dumb, you don't cheat off of them on a test. In real life, we don't get it. Somebody else would be doing way worse than you are. Yeah, you're taking advice from them. You want to start a business, right? A clothing brand, so on and so forth. Why are you asking for help? Why are you asking for advice from your mom or your peers? They never started a clothing brand before. So it's like a lot of times people are putting like their own self-doubting, I wouldn't even say belief because they don't believe in their self. And when you think about the word believe itself, you have to, lie to yourself. That's all it is, right? When you think about confidence, be live. Be is obviously like becoming, like being present, so on and so forth. Lie, that's you kind of like convincing yourself that, taking one thing to another thing, right? I think I learned that in, what is it? The base for all words comes from Greek, Rome, something like that. I forgot, but yeah, so. I know I just said a whole lot. It's going to be a whole bunch of different segments. Yeah, just keep the questions rolling. No, I'm open book.
Do you see yourself getting married?
I'm not into signing contracts that don't necessarily benefit me, let me say. Kind of like what TJ said.
Why wouldn't marriage benefit you?
On paper, God forbid me and somebody get into a relationship, we get married, we go to the court, everything is legal. Just as, like, how do I explain it? So in its most simplest form, how I see it is whenever you register anything with the government, you lose ownership over it. So when you think about, let's say, for example, what is it, DHS? Like when the government has to come in and basically take your kids from like the parent?
CPS.
Right? Is that CPS?
Yeah. Child Protective Services.
Exactly,
yeah.
CPS, right? When you were born, essentially your parents unknowingly signed over your rights to the government. That's what your social security number is. Your social security number basically documents the earnings of all Americans in the world, and so on and so forth, right? But also that's you losing ownership. When you register your vehicle at the DMV, what are you doing? You're losing ownership of it. By law, you're technically really not required to have a driver's license, to be honest. That's why I urge all of my clients to get an international driver's license. You can use that wherever, right? There are a lot of different like consumer laws that, people of higher up essentially manipulate us with all the time. Like even when you get pulled over and an officer, says, "Do you understand me?" Essentially, he's trying to put you under his jurisdiction, right? Essentially, you want to overstand him. It's like little small key words that I pay attention to, like just like knowing a little bit about pig lad and all of that other stuff. I don't know. I like a lot of like ostentatious and weird and like unfamiliar topics. I don't know,
it sounds like you read the dictionary too.
You think so?
Yeah, your vocabulary is really nice.
You like my vernacular?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a word for that too.
Do you believe in polygamy?
Drake said, there's on an unreleased song, Drake says something that I resonate with a lot. He said, "I'm not really into threesomes. I like one thing at a time. I like when it's you and I." I don't know if that correlates to what you just said, but that was a very fire bar. I believe in it,
okay.
But you believing in something doesn't necessarily mean you agree with it. I can believe in something and not agree with it, or want to partake in it. But at the same time, in the Bible, it says what? Be fruitful, right? So I don't really necessarily. I think that's a Western American thing, to be honest. Like if you were to really ask a lot of men like what they would rather do, and I'm big on that, I feel as though that you should be careful what you tolerate because you're teaching people how to treat you. But at the same time, just to kind of go back into what we were stating, a lot of men don't really want to commit to just one woman. It's more so because that's the norm. That's what's cool to do, or that's what is expected. But if you give them the option, if opinions didn't really necessarily matter, most men, not all of course, but most men would definitely rather be with more than one woman. But at the same time, that's another headache. No offense. Right? Girls ask all the time, like, why do men cheat? It's like, bro, if I was walking down the street and I got $1,000 in my pocket and $100 on the floor, You don't think I'll pick it up?
Ooh.
Just think about it. You see what I'm saying? I'm not justifying cheating, but at the same time, I'm also big on, like, if you look at all my captions, like, I'm really like painting a message for you. Like, I'm telling you, this is really who I am. Like, one of my captions says something like this, right? If you getting what you want, don't ask me about no other hoes. And it's like, it's the truth. It's like, I'm single, you single, we dating, I'm taking care of you, so on and so forth. If I'm doing everything that I need to be doing for myself and also you, why are you worrying about other women, right? And I feel as though that we're young. I don't want to be like caged in. So whoever I date, they have to understand that. And that's why I'm not in a relationship. So like, I wouldn't want to be with a woman who feels as though that she can essentially like manipulate me into feeling like less of myself, just to kind of overcompensate for her insecurities in a way. So while I love dating, I am a lover boy. I'd rather be in a relationship, but I also understand that it's selfish, especially if you're young and entrepreneurial and you're motivated to essentially achieve better, for you to lock yourself. And don't get me wrong, the right partner can definitely take you there. But also you have to understand like what type of person you are. I think a lot of people are forced into relationships that they don't really want to be in. There are a lot of people who are still in relationships just because they can't afford to pay rent by themselves. We already know that. We know a couple of people like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I make sure that if I'm with you, even if I am doing something else, like I feel as though so long as I'm not bringing back any diseases, I'm not publicly embarrassing you, and I'm also not getting anybody pregnant. Who cares who I like deal with? It doesn't necessarily matter. That's my opinion.
I think it's more so like, you know, women, would you agree that women want a provider and protector, correct?
Yeah, I think that is our job, to provide and protect and pay bills, PPP.
And I think the problem with men is that they don't see protecting our emotions as protection. That's a major part of the protection. And when men sit on a podcast like you just did, and no offense, and just say, well, I could go do whatever I want as long as I pay the bills, you're totally neglecting the woman's emotional feelings. So therefore you might be providing, but you're not protecting.
Emotionally, I guess I'm not. And that's something I got to work on, to be honest, like introducing you to something I can't keep up with. Mm-hmm. Like when I first meet a woman, most of the time, it's like I'm like here with it. I'm trying to do the most to, you know, get your attention so I can make you mine. Love bombing, mm-hmm. right? That honeymoon stage. And then after a while, I start to realize, not with all women, but with most women, I'm like, I'm really the catch though. But then I had to kind of like go back to that, and I realized the woman isn't the catch, the man isn't the catch, the relationship is the catch in general. So see how I wrapped around? Yeah, you thought I was gonna go another way.
So you don't think one person is the prize? Like,
no, I think the companionship is the prize. I tell the person who I'm dating right now, don't commit to me, commit to evolving. I'll meet you there. Because
we can't be both be prizes. We both can't be prizes.
That's like saying that we can both be number one. There's the reason why there's only
and that's why we come together to be number one together.
Right, but I don't want to date somebody who's necessarily not whole with themselves. I feel as though that relationship should be two hustlers, not one hustler and a leech. And also in addition to that,
but not two hustlers.
Huh? That's what I just said. Two hustlers, not one hustler and a leech. But it's like, I hate when people be like, "Oh, you complete me." I don't want somebody to complete me. I want to already be whole, and we come together. It's like,
I agree to that.
That's how I kind of see it.
Definitely.
Yeah, but nah, I don't.
Would you ever like bring a woman up to your level, or?
Always. I'm more so like the type of guy, whereas though I rather invest in your business or your idea, your brand, or just like, you know, whatever type of endeavors that you would like to partake in. I'm more so of that type of guy rather than try to, you know, buy you like expensive things. I'll do that too, but if you gave me like an option on what I would rather do, it'll definitely be me, you know, trying to level you up, because I feel as though that the best love language itself is making money together, right? And if you give a man a fish, you know, he eats for one time. But if you teach somebody how to fish, then they eat for eternity, right? So I'm big on being able to like, you know, level people up. And I always say this, right? If you're broke, it's all right, I can deal with it. But if you're comfortable being broke, then I don't want to deal with you. You see what I'm saying? So like, laziness is just something that I just can't tolerate. And also at the same time, I feel as though that it's kind of inconsiderate to be lackadaisical, especially when you're this young. It's 1,000 different ways to make money. It has never been easier, like in the history of the world, to become a millionaire. And there's so many people doing this so effortlessly. Like, we're contentpreneurs. Literally all three of us, right? We get paid from being able to produce, right? So that right there, that exchange is something that has never been able to be done. Like, our parents were essentially preparing us for a world that doesn't even exist. What did your parents tell you? Go to school, get good grades, graduate, go to college, get a job, work for 40 years, retire off for 40% of your income, right? 401k, but none of that stuff is, I won't say none of it, but that's not the same time that we live in anymore. Like, my mom, me and her don't have the best relationship because I make almost $500,000 right now, and she still wants me to have a job. It's like, that's kind of backwards. And don't get me wrong, I come from a very different background, for say, like how I made my money. You know, I was a little bit of a financial magician. You see the way I dress, I'm a little bit plush. I got that. But I'm all for helping people, though. At the end of the day, like I said, I think I know that people matter, and I wouldn't be where I am right now without people. I've always said that if you want to go somewhere fast, you go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you go with a team. So you only can grow to the amount of how successful your team is. So, like, I'm the type person also, like, if I have a friend and I know that he's broke, or he's not, I wouldn't even necessarily say broke, but he's not financially competent. Like, if I got a chain on or something like that, I'll tuck my chain. Like, you know, we go into the mall, like, if I get something, you gotta grab something too, whether you got it or not. It's just, I don't want to never make it seem as if, like, I'm better than you, right? Even though if I know in the back of my mind, like, and it's nothing wrong with people, like, thinking that, like, I love Kanye, to be honest. He's like my favorite celebrity, and it's because he's himself. You can't tone him down, right? He's like my spirit animal in a way. I would love to, like, essentially, like, be able to say the things that he says and move the way he moves. Not all the things, but, you know, mindset wise, like, when people say that he's crazy, it's like, yeah, like, he's different, right? Einstein was crazy, so on and so forth. I feel as though that we all are conditioned to think, or what we all are in condition to not think, let me say. And a lot of us think the same way. So I think once you step outside that box, they start to label you a narcissist or incompetent or crazy. And they put these stereotypes on you that are just ignorant, to be honest. But, like, for example, I forgot who Stephen A. Jackson, he just made a comment on whether or not he believes that Kim Kardashian mother, Kris, I don't keep up with them, but their mother is a pimp. And somebody, I forgot, one of the NBA basketball player, he had commented, he was like, hey, that's somebody's mom, take that down, that's rude. And he took it down and he apologized. But that's how he really felt. He wanted to ask a general question. So I'm all for men, or just people in general, just, like, speaking their mind and not and being unapologetic. Even though I can't do it sometimes. That's why I love when, you know, people like Charlamagne and all of them can just voice their opinion like that. And it's like, oh shit, you said that? I was thinking the same thing, but I ain't want to say it. So somebody gotta do it. Yeah. Take that type of controversy. So yeah, one day I'll be like that.
So there's this agenda on the internet that basically, like, I was on Kevin Samuels, so, like, that boss women are, like, just not it. Versus,
I remember watching you on there too.
Yeah. So do you actually think that, especially successful men, they actually need a boss chick?
That's a really good question. My dad, he's a little sexist though, but he said one thing. He was like, never date a woman who makes significantly more than you. And his reasoning behind that was because of an experience. And of course, experience is the best teacher. He had a friend, like I said, I'm African, grew up in Philadelphia, but I was born in Liberia, West Africa. And one of his friends at the time, he was dating a woman who made significantly more than him. To put it in perspective, let's just say he made 50 and she made 150,000, right? $100,000 more. She would go out any times of the night. She would talk back to him. It was just no level of respect. So for him,
that's funny
at all. So it was like whenever he would kind of question her, she felt as though that she had the audacity to basically backtalk him as well because she was the provider. And I feel as though that in order for you to be in your masculine, you can't check a chick if you can't even properly, you know, manage your checkbook. It's like money is important. We can't, like, shy away from that at the end of the day, right? And the best way for you to allow a female to be in her soft girl era, you know, as they call it now, is to be able to take control. And, you know, the testosterone level is at an all-time low. So men are unable to make the same decisions that they were, you know, making before. A lot of men are getting their nails painted and doing a whole bunch of other
I know someone like that. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And again, to each his own. In fact, I'm gonna stop saying to each his own, because I feel as though as a community, we need to hold each other accountable. So when we say to each his own, it's like I'm basically allowing you to do whatever you want to do, and there's no accountability to it. But you're either in the community, and you guys know what type of community I'm talking about, or you're out the community. So like, when do we stop doing that is a real question. Like holding, black men, accountable, black women accountable, so on and so forth. I think if we all came together and we were able to critique each other with respect, it'll change the entire trajectory of how we perceive one another, because this doesn't necessarily happen in other communities as much as it does within the African American community, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you made some good points. I definitely do agree that I guess women definitely can become masculine when they make more.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think that's the problem in today's society. I think the real issue, which we need to focus on, is that when a man doesn't make more than a woman, he becomes feminine. So it's like, where's the real problem at? It's not, you're basically, I'm not talking about you, just in general. Like, you're basically telling women to essentially lower their standards, become less successful, like literally take a bunch of steps backwards in order to find this mate. When the real, I'm gonna look into the camera when I say this, when the real issue in today's society is men not being able to be men being feminine because they cannot make more than a woman. That's the real issue today.
I think it's a balance thing. I don't agree or disagree with you. I'm definitely going down to be honest.
The backhand comment.
Because if, like, let's just say, for example, you made $1 million and your man made 500,000, you still making money.
Facts,
you know what I mean?
facts.
So it's like, I think it only comes down to if he makes the average amount as the typical American, or way less. But if I'm making 300,000, you make 400,000, that's still within like the same type of financial income tab, whatever the case may be, right? So it's like the same type of gifts that she can get you, I can get myself, and I can get you too as well. I think that's what matters. But when you giving me trips to Bora Bora and I'm giving you a pair of $400 shoes, then it's kind of like, you know what I mean? And I do believe that beautiful women have the right to be what's the word hypergamous. Hypergamous. You guys are familiar with it?
Yes.
Exactly. So now, if you're ugly, I don't know what to tell you, but if you're beautiful, you are allowed to date up in social status. I absolutely do believe that, and I don't think that is wrong. I don't think that women can even be gold diggers. I feel as though that you just have to kind of necessarily find the right woman for you, who's within inside your budget, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like women are naturally just submissive to providers, right? So if you're making 60,000, go find you a girl who's making the same amount or just a little bit more, so that you can be able to succumb to whatever it is that she has going on, and you guys can level up together. I think the most difficult part about being young with money, regardless of how much you make, is being able to, especially as a black man or just a man in general, is not being able to tell who's really for you versus what you have or what you can be. So that's one of the biggest disconnects that I have with just dating today, is like, I don't know like what's genuine or not. And the biggest question I always ask is, and one of my favorite movies is the one with Taraji P. Henson and Acrimony. It's like,
that's my movie. That's my
exactly.
movie.
Like,
yeah.
Is that the
wrong?
one where the husband left her?
Yeah,
and he got rich.
No.
I would've been hurt.
She divorced him. Get that correct. He did not leave her. He divorced him.
Now, don't get me wrong. So, like, when I was asking one of my friends about it, they was basically saying like, oh, well, he basically gave the next girl the same thing that he promised her. But I was like, in comparison though, one, I understand, okay, just writing a check doesn't really do much. All right, you got the money back, but the time was wasted, so on and so forth.
You gave her like $10 million though.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was more than what she put in, but I understand it's not just about the money. Like, she, like, psychologically, like, that kind of fucked her up, for real. But at the same time, it's like,
but
remember,
she left him at his lowest point in his life. Like, he was like
right
homeless.
before he blew.
Yeah.
And I think the main question that we also have to ask ourselves is, who do we owe our loyalty and our financial burden to the most, like in a situation like that? Because the lady who he actually ended up being with, she helped him get into that door.
Correct.
To
She
make the
did.
money, right?
Correct.
While the first female, who was his girlfriend at the time, she was the one who invested into the project.
Correct, she did.
Even though they didn't blow up yet. But it's like, if it wasn't for neither one of them, right, he still wouldn't have been in the position that he was. So he was working at it, right? And he was determined and he was manifesting. But it never came into fruition yet. So it wasn't until he met this lady who he did have sex with and was cheating on his girlfriend with at the time.
That was before they got married, though.
You remember? Was it
no, I remember. I seen them. They was in that little trailer park home. They wasn't married.
It wasn't married, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's like I think that was one of his best work, Tyler Perry. Like, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah. And that and Temptation, like they like right there.
It plays with a lot of emotional points, and even when I make content now, like how I kind of like to see it is that. Like a lot of there are more people who are going through things than people who are up and successful. So how I tailor my content, when I make content, I'm always thinking about how would Rod Wave make content if he did credit repair? Like that, like low level, like not so much depressed, but it's like the struggle, the grit, determination, up until the point where you actually make it type of content. So I switch my focus from, strictly lifestyle, fancy cars, out all the time, so on and so forth, because I realized that I can appeal to more people in that 90% versus the upper 10%, right? And even with how you scale your business when it comes to being able to make money, it's like, who would you rather market to more, the 90% or the 10%? So if I got a product for $4,000, $5,000, whatever the case may be, yeah, there are going to be a select group of people who can actually buy that, and it's a big payout, right? It's a high ticket item. But if I sold it for $300, $200, more people can afford that, right? So there's power in numbers, and one of my favorite quotes is that a fast nickel is better than a slow quarter any day. So I'd rather sell something cheap that I know it can go like this versus me upselling something whereas I know that once somebody's gonna come along, they're gonna give me a pretty penny, but how long is it gonna take before I'm able to kind of like recoup not recoup from my losses, but essentially be able to like sell a product like that. So that's what I'm leaning more towards, making my products a little bit more affordable to be able to dish it out to the general public and make it more accessible to the average Joe.
Okay. How much you invested in a woman? Like, what's the most money you spent on a woman?
On a what? I'm sorry?
On a woman.
The most money? So the first time I met the girl who I was dating, I met her within a week's time. It was through a mutual friend, and I think she got me. This is what she told me. She said, I ain't never had nobody do nothing special for my birthday. So given we all like a good chase, and on top of that, you always want to do better than the next. You see what I'm saying? So when I found that out, I'm like,
this is some good game.
Okay, cool. So basically, now again, this was strictly based off of what I thought she liked. So I got her mad sections at different clubs, invited a bunch of my friends, because she's like more of like she loves to turn up, but she's a people's person, but she doesn't like people. If that makes sense. Like, people love to gravitate towards her, but she's more so like shellish, right? But essentially, I got her roses, like how all the Instagram people do, and I put probably $3,000 in there, let her pay her rent for the next 3 months. I did that, the sections. I bought her something, I think it was a pair of shoes or something like that. A couple little small gifts. But all in total, I think I spent like $5,000 that weekend alone. And I never even spent that like on myself all at one time, outside of just like investing into like an Airbnb project or something like that. But also, like, I feel as though that when you do stuff like that too, it gives you like different bragging rights. You know what I mean? Like, it feels good to say, yeah, I spent $5,000 on her. Like, the first time I met her, like, within like less.
So wait, I'm so confused by the male brain. So you spent a lot of money on this girl with no intention of being with her. Like, I
still talk to her to this day.
But like, you like be with her, like.
No, at some point when everything is everything, like I said, I want to make sure that I'm at the best place financially, because like I've been an entrepreneur probably since I got out of high school. Like, I never had to ask my parents for anything. But at the same time, it's like all this, like when you make money from social media, right? Whatever platform or however you make your money, right, is very important. And I say that to say that social media can be going like this today. Then what? It's one thing for me to struggle by myself, but if I had a girlfriend or kids, that's just two other burdens, unfortunately, in a time frame like that. So when I'm saying this, it's not that I don't want to be in a relationship. It's more so that I'd rather be at the highest point in my life, whereas though I know that if we were to have a kid or were to get serious, we can do everything at the highest level. You think having a section in the club right now is lit because these people, they stand on the couches like they just bought land or something like that, right? How about we do that in Cabo or something like that? Spend $10,000, go to the mall, do some real exotic stuff, so on and so forth. Like, since I met her, every single month we took a trip. Like, and I pay for everything. Like, she never has to come out of pocket for anything. And that's just how I am as a man, because I feel as though that, like, I feel like the man should pay for everything if I'm dealing with you for the most part. Whatever you give to me is just a plus. So, like, I feel as though also, in addition to that, though, like, if she was to leave me today, she should still have her own money, her own car, and her own house. Whatever I do should be a plus. So I'm all for essentially being able to, upgrade a female, as you would say, but to what extent though? Right? Because if I fell today or tomorrow, I went to jail or I died, God forbid, like, how are you going to be able to essentially, take the baton and run with it? So that's why I'm big on just educating, like, whoever I'm with. And that's also why I don't date interracially.
And
that was a big bomb.
And so, like, what if, like, is she allowed to date other people? Like, will you just cut her off? Like, I know y'all are not together, so, like, does she still have to be monogamous towards you without a title for you to do all of these things for her? Good. Like, what if you found out she was with the next dude?
I couldn't be mad. I would feel some type of way.
But you would cut her off.
Huh?
You would stop.
I would stop doing what I was doing financially, but emotionally, or just like communicatively. No, I wouldn't like stop communicating with her. But I'm all about reciprocity.
So you don't think that's crazy? Like, you're on the microphone saying that you're not ready for a relationship.
That's what I said. So she found somebody else. It's like, I can't be mad. It's like, dang. But while you're with me, but.
So she's in a relationship, but you're not, basically. That's what it is. She's in a relationship, but you're not. Because then she has to worry about, dang, like, he's not giving me the title. He's, because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, all of those things are great. And, any woman will want a man to do what exactly it is that you're doing. But it's even better, and we prefer it when there's, like, emotion there. Like, I know that we're going to be together.
Right. But let me ask you this, right? What does a title necessarily like solve or like make good of? Because if we're having sex consistently, I'm paying for everything, I'm emotionally there, I'm making sure that you're good, you're covered. If I just say, oh, we're boyfriend girlfriend, what does that necessarily change? To me, what does it change? Like, the titles, like, we're still doing the same thing we've been doing. Is it just the commitment level now, you think?
Again, it's us women, we want a provider and a protector. And
so emotional
not
security.
Security, right. And that's not security. That's not protection, at least emotionally. So all we're getting is
you can build with somebody busy, or you can take care of a broke man.
But I'm not saying that it's a problem that you're busy. I'm just saying that, like, for you to have these expectations of her, but none for yourself.
Though? To just not have sex with anybody else? I think that's very doable.
But
I'm not looking to have sex with anybody else either, though. And I know you're saying, then for all that, why not just be in a relationship? But because when the arguments come, I want to be able to say, like, you're not my girl, we're not in a relationship. So I do use that as, like, something to hover over as a excuse mechanism, and I am fully responsible for that. But again, it's all about self-awareness. It's not like I'm doing this and I'm telling you, oh shit, damn, you're right, that doesn't make sense. I know it doesn't make sense, and I'm okay with it not making sense. So I'm self-aware.
You are
of what's
okay
going
with
on.
it, but
she's still here, so she's.
I mean, I'm not talking about. I'm just really talking in general because I don't know you or her, but, like,
this would be the case.
I'm pretty sure you know what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, I do, and it would be the case with any woman I date. I just feel as though that so long as I feel as though that I'm bringing more to the table, and it's not just financially, I'm saying, like, emotionally, romantically, physically, all of that. Like, I feel as though that, like, if I would date the fuck out of me. Like I would date if I was a female, I would date the fuck out of me. Meaning, like, I would succumb to not whatever, but at the end of the day, you gotta let a man, like, be able to, like, take charge. And
but you have security as far as, like you said, a man with money and he has his shit together. You have no problem getting women, but, like, it's the security for her. You feel secure because, like you said,
she's a beautiful woman. She can have any man that she wants to.
But she wants security from you. Like, that's the thing. I mean, us women in general, we walk outside and the next man is hollering at us. So that really don't mean nothing to most women because that's the norm. But when we want a specific man, like that's who we want.
Nah, that's true. And it's something I got to work on. Like I said, I'm self-aware and I understand that completely. I'm not perfect in those regards. That's why even still, like I told her, like I don't think I am ready for a relationship. So I rather like be in my selfish mode and kind of be observant of that fact than try to lead you on and have you believing that it's something that it's not.
Right. That, I mean, I respect that. The fact that you do lay it all out there and let them know, like, hey, I'm not ready for this. Because most men won't. And I think that's what makes it player is the fact that you are letting her know, hey, this is what it is.
Transparent.
Yeah, being transparent, but a lot of other men don't do it that way. They pretend that they want that. They pretend that it's coming. But if you're handling it that way, where you're being completely transparent, then, I mean, I get it.
I get what you do now. Because literally I could do your job too. I would love to be the host of a podcast. I got a lot of good questions. I got a lot of good questions. How do you feel about posting your partner on social media? Do you feel as though that's something, do you feel as though if you do not post your partner on social media, does that mean that you're less, like you have something to hide in a way? Or do you believe like some people, privacy is everything. What people don't know, they can't ruin?
That's a great question. So I know most people don't know this, but I am in a fully committed relationship. We live together, damn near married. But I don't use I have no desire to use my relationship as content because as you know, our content is used to monetize. So I just personally have no desire to use my relationship to monetize. Like there's so many other content that I can make. So for me, as someone who makes money from content, no, and he understands that like it's not an argument or a problem in our relationship at all. Like I think it just boils down to finding that person that understands that. But no, I don't post my relationship. People don't even know I'm in a relationship, but I am in a full blown, we live together, all that. So
okay. I mean, I guess on my end, I would say like I think it's like, and I, you can agree to disagree, but obviously what you said, it made a lot of sense to be honest. My take on it will more so just be like, I feel as though that it's perfectly okay to not show who your partner is. But I think it should be known that you have a partner. If I was in a relationship, it's like, shit, we gonna date, like post my hand a little bit, let people know that you with somebody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree to that.
Yeah, but it's like if you just make it, if every single time you go out, it's like, I'm just not existent at all. Like people don't think you are in a relationship. They don't gotta know who I am. Where's your Kelly vibes? You feel what I'm saying? Like when we go out, I have my something like that. But it's like I don't know. That's me though. Like to each his own.
No, I agree. No,
right?
I do be posting like Wizard Kelly vibes. When I'm on a podcast or something, or people ask like, yes, I am in a relationship, but I don't put it on Front Street.
Who you're in a relationship with, exactly. And why do you think that is? Do you feel as though that's more so because a lot of people are looking at you with the evil eye in a way, whereas those like once they know who you're dating, now they want to go to his page and like maybe come to you as a woman and like bring up like other like secrets that were completely irrelevant to like your situation now, and that's causing a lot of friction with inside like your involvement with the person.
Yeah, most definitely. Because, just doing social media in general, I get a lot of hate just to me. So it's like, I know that if I put my relationship on Front Street, that now they're going to be talking down on my relationship. People might, I actually had a female message my man trying to ruin everything. Just like shit like that. Like people, especially as my numbers keep growing, it's like, that's my weak point. So it's like, what Drake say? I'm not hiding my son from
I'm not hiding my child from the world. I'm hiding my child world from child.
Like I didn't really understand at first, but I feel the fuck out of him.
That's deep.
After that,
I agree. Now I got a question for you, Mario. Okay. This is a very difficult question. No, it wasn't about that.
Oh, okay.
I switch it up. I switch it up. You got 4 people on a cliff. You can only save one. You got your baby mom, you got your wife, you got your kid, and you got your mom. Who you saving and why?
It's my kid.
Why?
Because
I agree too, but I just want to know why.
Because he's only 4 years old. Everybody in their 30s and 60s, and it ain't nothing personal.
I would too, personally. All right, so what? And we can all answer this like individually. What do you guys feel is the most unattractive feature when it comes to dating a partner? Lack of money, uneducated, bad hygiene, or baby mama or daddy drama? Like, which one is like, if you had to pick, like, all right, I'll deal with this, but the other 3, it's just completely undateable.
For me, it would be a tie between the not being financially literate and the baby mama. I'm like, if I were to be single, if you have a kid, don't even talk to me. Don't even bother, because it's not happening. No.
You feel as though people with kids should just date other people with kids?
Yes.
Like, it just makes sense?
And that's the only way I would date someone with kids after I get my
I
first
said
kid.
the same thing. It's like, it just makes sense. It's like, I'm already coming to a situation with one. You're coming with two. The math is not mathing, right? And at the same time, especially as a man, all it takes is for, let's just say you have a daughter, right? Kids lie. She could say I looked at her a certain way or I touched her, and that could be completely.
Yeah, that was my fear. Dating a woman with a little girl. Yeah,
it's very uncomfortable and overwhelming too as well. And if I already have a kid, if I do something for my kid and I'm dealing with you, you're looking at me like, oh, so damn, you're not gonna do that for my kid too. It's like it's very manipulative, in a way.
It's tricky, yeah, because I was actually a stepmom. I tried it.
You tried it?
It didn't work. Because it's like when you don't have no kids and then the person that you're dating has a kid, you put yourself in the back seat. Like you're automatically the third wheel. Like, so it's like, it's not, at least for me, it's not for me.
What they say, a husband or wife is temporary. A baby dad or baby mom is forever.
Forever.
Isn't
so
it
it's
crazy
like,
how that works though?
Yeah.
It's like regardless. And then also the way I think about it, right? When you think about somebody who has like a baby mom or a baby dad, subconsciously you're dating them too, because they're not ever going anywhere. You want to go and date the baby mom and you want to go take her out, guess what? She has to communicate with the baby dad to see if he can watch her for the weekend, so on and so forth, so y'all can go ahead and mingle. So it's like,
it'd be so weird
at the same time.
I'll just holler at my parents.
Yeah, so it's very evasive. All right, it looks like we're taking a switch here. Your partner wants to make a drastic hair decision. That's for you. He wants to go bald. On your end, they both want to go bald.
Yeah.
Cut all their hair off. Do they have to inform you, or
hell yeah,
completely?
Yeah.
You're not dating.
I wouldn't say I would leave him just for simply having a bald head, but it's like, now I'm less attracted to you. So over time, it could be a problem, you know. And for me to ignore that is stupid.
Same with you, in a way.
I mean, just like a woman, like women, like naturally, you know, they have they got hair, you know, they have breasts, you know. They're like
all the characteristics.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I want. I want the characteristics of a woman, like.
So you feel like short hair is more masculine?
I do.
There's some females that pull off the short.
No, they do, but they gotta be real pretty, like Alicia Keys. Yeah.
You can't have a big ass head.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, what is the biggest turn off for you when it comes to like dating, like a woman? Like she does this, is like cut. The biggest turn off.
I don't know. I don't remember the last time I was dating. To be honest with you, it's been a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Different question then for you. Is, how much does your submission cost?
Oh wow, that's a good. How much does my submission cost?
There's a price.
Yeah. That's a good question.
And while you think about it, I'll go a little bit more into detail. How much does a man have to make or physically have for him to say, "Hey, babe, I really love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Right now, the place where you are right now, you may be working at the club, you may be doing credit repair. I don't know. I got enough money, whatever that number is, theoretically. I want to move away, travel to a whole different country, and I want you to come with me. How much does he have to have or make? So for you to be completely submissive to him and say, you know what, drop what I'm doing, let's go.
Well, I feel like I am completely submissive to my man at the moment. And honestly, and I'm being completely honest, like since day one, like I have my own money. So like since day one, I've never asked him like, how much do you make? Even to this day, I don't know how much he makes. All I know, all I know is that when I'm with him, I'm taken care of. Like he pays the rent, like he pays the bills, we go out to eat, the bill is paid. Like I don't have to question like, how much, like, do you even got it? Like, I don't have to question that. And I also have my own bread. So it's like,
if you got it, you got it.
I got it. So, like, if I want to go get my nails or my hair done, that's something I take care of for myself. Like,
what if he just charging everything and he just, like, rolling up? Yeah, just rolling up debt. Yeah.
The whole time you ain't even know.
Yeah, the whole time you don't know.
If I were to find that out, that would probably be a deal breaker. But I you know, like you said,
you see it as damn, like this guy went all the way out the way to basically like impress. Like obviously you can't do that. At some point, it's like
so it's gonna bleed out eventually. But
no, but I you know, for me to be in a relationship, I definitely did my research. So good credit, financially literate, financially responsible, good head on his shoulder, very masculine. I have nothing negative to say about my man
You want
at
to know
all.
what's funny?
What?
In comparison to what you just said, I always said that cheating should lower your credit score. If Tiffany don't trust you, then how the fucking Bank of America trust you? You ever thought about that? Like, what if every time you cheated, that's like 10, 15?
Yeah, that's actually
a lot of guys would be faithful then.
Hell yeah.
Credit score.
Nah,
Yeah.
some guys would just be like, F my credit score.
That's true too. But I also feel as though in the generation that we live in right now, and you just spoke some light on it, right? A lot of women who are successful like yourself also have to worry about men who are trying to leech off of them too as well. Somebody might see you and be like, Turner got that Benz. She making X amount of dollars. She posting her money. She go out to Noble every now and then. Shit, I'm about to, and I got some good thing. I'm about to sling shit. She about to be mine. Like I'm about to.
Someone already got me.
Like somebody
they already got me.
A dude already got you for
before
real?
my relationship that I'm in now, they got me.
Damn.
Yeah, but that was a learning lesson.
I'm gonna ask you out the show. I want to know.
Good dick and lies.
Yeah.
Good dick and lies.
They got me.
Like he was like a finesse, like a finesse. Or what type of dude was he?
I would call him that.
So he was perceiving himself to be a certain way, and
The
then
love bombing, the love bombing,
Oh,
and
did
then all
he-
of a sudden,
Boom.
so he just took a lot of bread from your account. Like
no. I was just stupid,
Okay.
and I would just give him the money.
So
He would just ask me like,
How was that conversation like? I never knew how to ask a woman for
"Yo,
money.
this is
Comfortable with me,
crazy."
like,
He would just be like, I don't got money for my haircut. I don't got money for my phone bill. And this is where it's like
you wouldn't ask for the money directly. He'll complain about it. And
he'll complain about needing something, and then it's like being
how long was y'all together?
like 2 years maybe.
2 years? See what I'm saying? You just charging it. You could just charge everything, act like you got it, and then you know what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna lie, I got
investment for him. I'm gonna put up a little $3,000-$4,000 thing. I got it, and on the back end, I know she gonna reward me. And I'm gonna get the relationship. I'm secure the bag, run up her credit, get a Hellcat.
But that's like most relationships though. Everybody's on their best behavior
in the beginning.
Yeah, when you
But
first
some
meet
people
somebody,
do
that's
it
not
with
what they really are. That's
ill
the
intention in the beginning.
Oh,
though.
I see what you're saying.
Like if you go in with the mindset, I'm a manipulate. I'm gonna make her think this, and then switch. I think so. I think it's like, what is your intention behind it? Like, because I think some men go and prey on certain women for that purpose, which is mind blowing to me because I didn't realize that until it happened to me. So
that word is actually interesting itself. Like I was doing research, not to cut you off. Like we as a society basically put a connotation behind whether or not we believe what manipulation actually is. When you look at the word in the dictionary, it just means to turn one thing to another. But because of all the nefarious things that have taken place in the world from us as a society and what we had normalized, when we think about manipulation, we instantly think a bad thing, right? When in actuality, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You can manipulate somebody in a good way. There's a difference between manipulation and convincing, right? Actually, those three words are very triggering: convincing, persuasion, and manipulation. I feel as though like persuasion is forcing someone to do something that they don't want to do for your own internal benefit. Convincing is me saying, hey, if I'm a coach, for example, like I'll basically I basically have my best interest within myself and discernment to basically have you to believe, right, that what I'm trying to convince you to do is for the better of your own good. So I feel as though the difference between persuasion and convincing is more so it lies between whether or not you have their best interest or not. So like in sales, like I like to say, like I'm a consultative salesperson, meaning like, listen, if you get this package, great. If you don't, great. My job is just to educate you at the end of the day. And once you educate somebody, you give them the tools and the resources and the knowledge for them to be able to make their own decisions. But if you came to me and you say, hey, see, my skin is breaking out right now and I don't know what to do and I think I'm pregnant, and I say, yeah, get the CPN. It's like, whoa. How does that correlate? So it's like I'm trying to persuade you. I'm doing my best to, manipulate, as we will say, right? But that's not really like me being like a consultant in a way. So I feel as though that a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, they don't know the difference between consultating and just being like salesy. You know what I mean? So I always try to lead people in the right direction when it comes to that. But just a little sidebar.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me end it right there. Let me ask you these questions, and
Okay.
you cool? All right. Flips or rental properties?
Say one more time.
Flips or rental properties?
I'm biased. I never got into the buying side of real estate just yet. Airbnb is still formally new to me, but by the time this podcast takes off, we're gonna speak everything into fruition and positivity. I should be a super host, right? So I'm gonna go with flipping. So like STR, short term rentals, Airbnbs. I just feel as though like on my end, and again, everybody has their own take, but rich people control everything, own nothing. That's what I realized. Mm-hmm. So for me, instead of buying the property, why not just sublease it from somebody else and get it under maybe like a corporate lease, for example, which is what I'm getting into more so, and let somebody else borrow it and I make money on top of that. Because at the end of the day, if you own a place, right, short-term tenants cause way less damage than long-term tenants, and then you don't have to necessarily even worry about collecting rent, right? So with Airbnb, I only been on the platform for about 3 months, but it pays for itself at the bare minimum, right? The one property is bringing me an extra $1,000 a month. Simple math. That's only a 1-bedroom. I'm like, damn, if I get a 3-bedroom, that may bring me extra 4 or 5,000, right? So, and then it's just all about scaling. So to answer your question, I'll say flipping.
Okay. Rental property or Airbnb?
Well, yeah, I think I just answered the question itself within the question.
Go Airbnb?
Yeah, Airbnb, but rental property would be an Airbnb unless you own it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. No, go ahead. Oh, you about to say something? Stocks or NFTs?
I got a couple of friends who do like stock option trading, so I'll definitely say stock option trading just because I'm a little bit ambiguous when it comes to what NFTs are. What is it, non-something tokens?
Yeah, tokens is
Non-fungible tokens or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
I understand the idea of it, and I can definitely see like the adverse reality that comes with it, like as far as like what it can do. Like simply, okay, well, 10 years ago when we wanted to go to a game, for example, we have to do what? Print out the tickets. Now everything is digital. So moving to a digital era, it makes sense, but also at the same time, it's like getting paid for like a digital asset where I can just screenshot it too as well. It may not hold the same value, but I don't know. It's just still a little bit confusing. So I like to think that whatever you don't know is kind of bigger than you. So right now that is bigger than me. So I'm gonna be a little bit biased. I'm gonna go with stock option trading just because I'm ambiguous to it. So I'll go the stock route, longer term investments.
Money or equity?
Isn't equity a form of money though?
It is, but it's like, I guess it's more the long term play because you're just holding it. You're not getting bought out yet, or you're not selling it yet.
So would I rather have part ownership and receive royalties from something like equity versus just like cash up front?
Correct.
It's always about the long term game for me. If people made decisions from a decade standpoint as opposed to from seconds or just like next day, like you ask the person right now, what are you doing next week? They don't know. They don't. So I feel as though that life is all about expectations, about what to happen next, for say. So when you look at anybody who's very wealthy and not rich, I feel as though rich is loud, wealth is like quiet, if that makes sense. So anyone who has ever acquired a large amount of money over a sum of time, it wasn't overnight, right? People who essentially win the lottery or go make it to to become a professional sports athlete, they blow that money in such a short period of time. But I feel as though everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur, but everybody can be an investor in something. So I'm definitely gonna go with that route.
2 million followers or rental property?
2 million followers or rental property?
Mm-hmm.
I wish you'd ask me a different way. I wish you'd ask me 2 million followers or $100,000 cash. But to answer your question, I'm going attention every time. Because with attention comes cash flow, as I would say. So with 2 million followers, if I sold a product for $100, and let's just say just 10%, right, of 2 million is 200,000. If 200,000 people gave me $100, I don't want to be wrong, but that's a lot of money. I think that's a little bit. I think more than 2 million.
So what would you say to people who don't understand the social media game and content and say that you're chasing clout? What would you tell those people?
I would say that they're uneducated, to be honest. there's a difference between chasing clout and being a contentpreneur. I think when you're a contentpreneur, obviously an entrepreneur who makes money off of content, your goal, your edge, your perspective, your whole motto is to essentially be able to produce something that is going to be relative to you being able to receive some type of cash flow from it, which will help other people. Clout chasing for me is more so looking for attention, and it doesn't necessarily have no like monetary gain towards it at the end. So while all publicity is good publicity, right, I also do believe that there's a quote that I live by, and I did Forex before, and I also did a lot of different MLMs, and one thing that it taught me is that you should always set yourself on fire, and when people come and watch you burn, sell them something. That's just that simple. So if I'm doing credit repair and somebody exposes me on a big blog page, whereas though they're saying all of these wrong things about me, somebody may freak out and panic. I may be like, whoa, the Shade Room posted me? Oh yeah, all the eyes are on me now.
Right,
and I'm burning up. It's time to turn this controversy into cash flow, because at the end of the day, people are newsy. You know what I mean? They are newsy. They want to know. People care more about other people's lives than their own lives. How often have you seen like your little cousin or your son or your little brother, they go on YouTube now and watch other kids play with toys? They don't even play with toys like themselves anymore. So that right there is like a whole like perspective switch in a way. So I'll take the 2 million followers any day over even $200,000-$300,000, because I know that I can get that faster if I have influence. So influence is the new capital.
850 credit score, $1 million.
Because with $1 million you can get an 850 credit score, and also with an 850 credit score you can get $1 million. So they kind of go together well. But I don't believe that cash is king, and I don't believe that credit is king. I believe cash flow is king. So to be honest, of course, I would say I'll go with the cash first, because like I said, it will be easier for me to obtain an 850 credit score with $1 million cash than it would be for me to get $1 million cash with an 850 credit score, if that makes sense.
Man, appreciate it, man.
And I appreciate you
Good
guys.
one. Do you want to close out? Tell them your Instagram.
Oh yeah, so for all those out there who are watching this right now, once again, my name is Simos. I promise you this won't be the last time that you're seeing me. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms at Approved by C. So that's APPROVEDBYCE. That's my business page. If you want to get me a little bit wild, if you want to see me a little bit more wild, loose, and unrestricted, I will say you can follow my personal page at BLUFFABOY. That's more, of my persona, I will say, Bluffaboy. So yeah, it's been a pleasure sitting here. It's my first real interview. Won't be the last, as I stated. You guys have been a great host, and I look forward to doing more of these in the future.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Clap, 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 clap.